developed ways of ensuring that people, there was a licensing tradition. You had to get licensed, which was called ijaza. And that license was much more rigorous than it is today. And this is why even having a license today is not necessarily foolproof, that the person isn't going to go astray. But generally, the ijaza tradition, and this is a proof of our religion, because the isnad is from our religion by consensus of the ulama. Al-isnadu min ad-din. Isnad is from religion. And lawla al-isnad laqala man sha ma sha. If it wasn't for the isnad, people would say whatever they wanted to say. So traditionally, you had to work before you got ijaza. You read with teachers. They could see the level of your reading. They would know the level of your understanding very quickly. I mean, if you study with any real shaykh, they'll quickly discern whether you're getting it or not. They can see it just on your face. And often they would ask you questions when they saw something was difficult, they would say. And the great teachers like Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya, somebody who's at that level, Shaykh Abdullah Wald Ahmedna is another one, really stunning understanding. Shaykh Muhammad Yaqubi has brilliant mind. I mean, really brilliant mind. And I haven't met anybody at the level of Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya, and I've had the good fortune of reading with several really great scholars, but I've never met anybody at the level of Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya in his understanding, in the vastness of his knowledge of Arabic, the vastness of his knowledge of the Book of Allah, of usul. And this is why he makes statements that the ulama haven't caught up with yet, because he's on another level. And Imam al-Ghazali was fought in his lifetime. Abu Bakr al-Tartushi, one of the greatest scholars of Imam al-Ghazali's period, wrote a book against him. Imam al-Maziri, the great Maliki scholar, one of the greatest Maliki scholars in our history, wrote a book against Imam al-Ghazali. Imam al-Ghazali's books were burnt in Andalusia and in Morocco. But it was Qadi Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi, who was a student of Abu Bakr al-Tartushi, that recognized Ghazali. Because when he met him, I mean, if you read the description of his meeting of al-Ghazali, he said, I went in there, and he was already a well-seasoned scholar at the highest level. He has over a 30-volume tafsir of the Quran that unfortunately got lost with the loss of Andalusia. But his 4-volume Ahkam al-Quran is a umda. It's a foundational book in the Maliki tradition, and as well as the other people read it. Like the Malikis read al-Jassas from the Hanafi tradition. The Hanafis read Qadi Abu Bakr from the Maliki tradition. So it's a book that transcends madhab. But Qadi Abu Bakr was a giant of his time. When he met Ghazali, he said, it was like I had been in darkness before that. And he said, I came into the room and it was as if the sun rose and eclipsed all the stars. And he said, I'd never seen anybody like him. And he sat with him, he read the Ihya with him, he read books, he asked him, he said, I wanted to understand the subtleties of his language. And so I asked him, and he said he treated me like the most generous of guests during the time that he stayed with him. He stayed with him in Jerusalem when he was in retreat, and he stayed with him in Baghdad. But he was the one that took his teachings back to North Africa, and Imam al-Ghazali's teachings spread. And so those critics of Ghazali during their time, even though they're great scholars, they didn't recognize, and you know, with all respect to, because they are truly great scholars, but you know, Shatibi mentioned that the fuqaha were like tuyus ala zariba. You know, they're like goats fighting on the garbage heap. You know, like, you know, the ulama of one time. That's why you can't judge scholars in the time. A scholar can't really testify against another scholar in his time because of the hasad. Scholars are really understood after they're dead, because during their time they're always going to have people that envy them and attack them just because they're, and they won't admit, you know, Kierkegaard said people will admit a felonious crime before they'll admit envy. You know, nobody's going to say, you say, no, you just envy him. Astaghfirullah. Me envy him. A'udhu billah. So, anyway. So I just want to go over a few of these rules.